Hello. Welcome to the second live panel of this 24-hour event celebrating the impact of forest landscapes restoration. I'm the moderator, John Vidal. I'm in London. This discussion is entitled The Impacts of the Bonn Challenge. So just to remind people, back in 2011, the German Environment Ministry and the IUCN, the World Conservation Union, had this extraordinary idea of asking the world to plant trees and to restore degraded land. And the plan then was to ask people to plant 150 million hectares by 2020, building up to 350 million hectares by 2050. And a lot of people said, well, it's not possible, it's not going to happen. And lo and behold, what has happened already, we're on to 210 million hectares pledged by over 60 countries. So it's a fantastic success. Now, this is a little discussion with the two co-architects of the whole Bonn Challenge. And I want to introduce to you Bruno Oberl, who is the Director General of the IUCN, and Jochen Flasbach, who is the German Environment Minister. And we couldn't have two people who know more about the challenges of the challenge and the whole way it's going and the progress it's being made. So it's a fantastic pleasure to have you both here. And thank you very much indeed for giving up your valuable time. And I see you're not planting trees right now, but we want you to go out after this and plant as many as possible. So first question for Jochen. What role do you think the Bonn Challenge had in building up this global restoration movement? Because it's now it's enormous. I mean, we've got Africa's joined in, Latin America's joined in. This is now a global movement, many countries, and it does give some hope for the future. So what role has the Bonn Challenge had?
Thank you, John, and hello, everybody. And just give me the chance, as it's the first moment to be in public together with Bruno Oberle since he took office as Director General of our wonderful IUCN, and to applaud him. We know each other for a long time. So happy to see you and to be reconnected with you on such a wonderful topic. Yes, John, as you said, it's an extraordinary initiative, this Bonn Challenge, and it's personally very close to my heart, because I believe it's some kind of a masterpiece of sustainability of our global 2030 agenda. It addresses many different environmental targets such as biodiversity, water, soil, you name it, and CO2 as a sink, and it addresses economic issues, providing regional and local income, and it creates jobs. So it's also has a social dimension, and if you like, you can also add a cultural dimension, as forests play such an important role in many regions and in many cultures of the world. So just to have if I may, to have a short look back where this idea came from. And it was an interesting debate in the first decade of this century, when it was about the plus of the red plus. And some of our audience might recall that there was a lot of suspicion about the plus from the climate family, let's call it like that. Is this really sustainable? Do we store carbon for a long time? And from the biodiversity community, will this cause monocultures? Will it have negative effects on biodiversity? And then the breakthrough idea was coming from the FLR, the Forest Landscape Restoration Community, and some excellent people there, such as our former employee, Horst Freiberg, many of you know him. And they had the idea, let's look at the landscape and do restoration of degraded forest landscapes. And that was a fantastic idea. And I mean, it is very attractive for people. People like planting trees because they want to do something. We are having such huge environmental challenges in the world, but people like to do something practical, and therefore they like planting. And as people like planting, politicians like planting. And I think that was, in a way, the very precondition very positive precondition for such a successful initiative.
Thank you very much, Jochen. Bruno, you've only just joined the IUCN. You're only now just the Director General. So maybe it's a little bit early to ask you, but can you say what lessons does the Bonn Challenge actually offer countries?
I mean, on one side, I can echo what Jochen was saying. So in forest management, the concept itself of sustainability was developed inside the forest management family 1 century ago. Managing a forest in a sustainable way, it is the objective of the Bonn Challenge. It's delivering over decades, over centuries, values to all the stakeholders that are around the forest. It is delivering forest to producing wood, producing biodiversity, producing other values, and how to get there. We have learned with the Bonn Challenge that there are a number of things that are needed. We need a clear scientific underpinning of what means sound restoration. We need scientific concepts that were developed by IUCN, but also by others. I remember the concept of nature-based solution, the standard that IUCN has created now on the nature-based solution approach, but also typology of ecosystem and their fitting into the landscape. So you need on one side sound science. It is based on sound science. And then you need a community. You need a community locally, and then that want to engage in this work for a long time. Creating a forest means that you plant something for your children and then your grandchildren. And then you need a community of communities. You need a communities of the countries and of the communities that have engaged in this challenge and in this adventure. And once you have the right knowledge, the community that want to work, then you can start the work, and you need to monitor what are the results. You have to feedback. Yes, we are restoring the biodiversity. Yes, we are creating value for all the stakeholders, and so that it can be demonstrated the value of this action. This is an example that could be taken over by other initiatives in similar fields in the next year, for example, in the decade on ecosystem restoration, but also with the objective of the big convention in mind.
Thank you very much, Bruno. Jochen, can I just ask you now, well, ask both of you, where do you think it's going to go? I mean, you're on 210 million hectares now. Are you confident that you'll get to the 350 million hectares? And are you really going to get the other 170 or 160 other countries to get involved? I see that it's only really a third of the world's countries. Why aren't the other ones in there? So how are you going to get it up to 350 million hectares? And how are you going to persuade the UK and all these other countries which have not yet put forest restoration into their climate change plans and whatever? Can you give us some idea, please?
Yes, and in a way I can echo what Bruno has said, and I want to add some thoughts to answer your question, John. I think regional cooperation is of utmost importance, and this. It was seen as a global initiative, but then the fantastic Lina Pohl from El Salvador got the idea, let's make a regional meeting in the Central American region. And this continued up to now by more or less annual meetings. So, and that is very attractive because you share different, more or less similar problems in a region, more in Latin America than it is compared to the Asian region, and so on and so forth. So I think that is very important. The second one is attract those countries who have not been yet involved in the Bonn Challenge. And you may understand, John, especially you as a British, that I'm a bit reluctant to give any peace advice as a German to our UK friends. But also in Germany, we didn't see it. I mean, we were some kind of a motor, you said, architect for this initiative. But it took some time until we discovered, yes, we can do something in our own country as well. Or to get the Central and Eastern European region through UNECE to be involved. It's only, I think, 2 years ago that they jumped on the initiative. So I think we can do a lot through the regional approach. And then again, we need the science. If you have a clear scientific basis, and this is gives it more credibility. It's not nonsense, and science is so important. I mean, every child can plant a tree, but to restore the forest ecosystems, you need science. You need the experts and to involve them.
They're well answered. Bruno, can I ask you? I mean, obviously, you come in from the biodiversity point of view. Are you happy that some countries seem to be really taking advantage of the Bonn Challenge to plant a lot of basically monocultural trees, which are not going to add that much biodiversity? How do you balance, or how do you think countries should balance the needs of saving carbon and also creating more biodiversity? Is there a little bit of a friction here?
I guess it is. On one side, of course, there is a trade-off between the two objectives. But in another sense, it is less efficient. So if you invest in a monoculture, you invest your money less efficient than you could, because of course we need sequestration of CO2. And we know that the forest is a good sequestrator of CO2. We know also that this will be for a time till the forest is grown, and then we will have to release again the CO2. So it is, in a way, sequestrating CO2 into forest is a transitional measure for the period in which we are not able to get the results through other better means. But at the same time, restoring forest, it means that you restore the fertility of the forest soil. It means that you restore the byproducts of the forest. Think at thinking and hunting. Think on harvesting fruits that are growing there. Think on protection that you earn by in mountainous places, the protection that you get by a sound, complex, not monocultural build-up forest. Think on the beauty of a mixed forest, of a forest that it is at the right place in the right way. You can get so much and different values working with the forest in an appropriate way, that having a one-sided look at it is, in a way, wasted money.
Yeah, no, well answered. Jochen, my last question for you. How does the Bonn Challenge fit in with all these other initiatives? You've got the Trillion Tree Initiative, you've got Pakistan and its billion tree ones, you've got African ones, you've got everybody in the world seems to want to be planting trees. How does the Bonn Challenge fit into that? Do you feel now that you're the little brother and you should have actually been far more ambitious right from the start?
Yeah, I don't think that this comparison is the right way to approach this matter. I think we can be lucky to see a lot of competition to lead in this field, and I'm absolutely happy that this Bonn challenge fed into the, or led into the UN decade on ecosystem restoration. It's a key tool and we need to do it. And I hope that at the next CBD COP in China next year, hopefully, we will have a big exclamation mark behind the restoration of ecosystems approach. And may I just add two things at the very end. So number one is restoration is good, it's perfect, and we need to do it. But even more important is to stop the deforestation. And that is something which worries me a lot. We have increasing deforestation rates again in the Amazon region and other regions of the world. So we have to stop this deforestation. That's absolutely priority number one. The second one, we have to focus on implementation now. We have the pledges, between 60 and 90% are implemented, but we can do more. And therefore Germany, and I can announce it here today, will start again with our fantastic partner from IUCN, but also others, the restoration hub in Bonn, to get implementation done, and we will support it financially through our international climate initiative.
Well, I'm going to draw to a close here. So Bruno Oberl and Jochen Flasbach, thank you both very much indeed. That was really fascinating, and we congratulate you and good luck with the next 10 years as well. So now we're going to hand back to the audience. There's going to be an hour's gap before the next session, which is going to be on forest landscape restoration, but it's going to be with an all-women challenge because it's about gender equity. So very many thanks indeed to you guys. Keep planting and give us some hope. Thank you so much indeed. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Bruno.